Hello chess friends and welcome to your Saddle's Chess channel and welcome to my King's Indian Defense series. So in this series I am showing you an effective weapon while playing against d4, and today I wanted to continue with the berry attack. In my previous video I have explained this early flank attack by white and how you can punish it. Today I wanted to show you the continuation after c5 if your opponent takes the pawn with d takes c5, and how you can really simplify this the position. So let's see now again this berry attack setup. We have d4 by white, knight on f6. We have knight on f3, g6, and now knight on c3, again d5, preventing this e4 move. So now bishop on f4, bishop on g7, and now e3, castling, bishop on e2, and now c5. You may ask yourself what happens if your opponent takes d takes c5. You see, there is this really nice line for you. You can play knight from b to d7, and now if your opponent takes the pawn on d5, you simply take the knight, and after the queen takes the knight you have this check with an attack also on this c5 pawn. So white has to react. You see, if he goes here maybe queen on d2, you simply take the queen, the knight takes on d2, and now bishop on b2 with an attack on the rook. The rook has to react, and now it's an important move, bishop on c3, preventing here white to play knight on b3 and protecting this c5 pawn. So in a couple of moves you'll be able to take the pawn on c5, and this is really now an equal position, and with the bishop pair on the board, with the king secured, it's perfectly playable. After this takes c5 and knight from b to d7. If your opponent plays maybe knight on b5, you can again recapture here, and if your opponent tries knight on c7, you have rook on b8, and if your opponent tries again knight from b5, knight on b5, you have again rook on a8, and it could lead to this perpetual moves, and of course into a draw game. So really not such a problem, this d takes c5. So today I wanted to show you an instructive game in this line played by Niaz Murshid against Wesley So, the top grandmaster from these days. And here after knight from b to d7, white castled, and Wesley So simply captured the pawn on c5. We have here now this idea, knight on b5, a6, and now bishop on c7. If now knight on c7, then you have rook on a7, and you see this is now a problem for the knight. The knight doesn't have any squares left now, and if you could maybe somehow cut out here the connection, or better said, here the protection of this bishop on the knight, you'll be able to take the knight and of course win the game. So this knight on c7 is not a good idea, so that's why here white tried bishop on c7, attacking the queen, queen on e8, and now knight on c3, queen on c6, attacking the bishop. Bishop on e5 was played by white, sort of a positional pin here. We want to get rid of this Stark's bishops. And now e6. You see, black has very nice now central control with these two pawns, and we have possibilities to play on this semi-open c file. So this is of course perfectly playable, and I think it's here a better position for black even. So here knight on d4, and now queen on b6, now knight on b3, and now knight on d7 again. Which is an important move, which now really challenging this bishop. You see, in this next move, well, Wesley So will play on a simple strategical idea to create these simple attacks on the bishop pair. So it's quite it could develop into an open position, this particular position, and of course if we try and manage somehow to grab one of these bishops by white, we of course have a huge advantage, because in this position it's better of course to have the bishop there. So now bishop on g3 was played, and now queen on d8, now bishop on d6 again, and now rook on e8, and now a4. Now Wesley So played an important move, b6, which is a preparation after a5, which was played in the game, to pass through here with the pawn here on b5, and now bishop on f3 by white, and bishop on b7. So you see, black is very well developed here. Now we have possibilities to play this rook on c8 move, really occupying this C file, and you see white has left here a very weak square in his position, this c4 square, which is of course a very nice square for our knight. So now queen on d2 was played by white, connecting the rooks and finishing development, but here knight on b6, a very nice move, attacking the bishop. If of course a takes b6, you simply take the bishop, and this pawn here is basically unprotectable. So that's why here white tried bishop on b4, but now we have a very nice square for the knight. They said knight on c4 with an attack on the queen, and also attacking this very weak b2 pawn. So queen on c1 was played, and now knight from f to d7. You see, again with the idea to play knight on e5, again creating this simple attack on this bishop. So we want, as I said, to get rid of this bishop pair. So now g3, knight on e5, and bishop on g2, of course. So now knight on c6, again attacking the bishop, bishop on c5, and now knight takes a5. So Wesley So managed to get a pawn here. So now e4 was played, and now rook on c8. Finally, this rook comes very strong into the game, and now you see we have sort of a discovered attack here on the queen. So e takes d5, and now knight on b3, c takes b3, and now a very strong move and after that white resigned, knight on b2. So you see, if the opponent tries here d takes e6, you get bishop on g2. Maybe you can try e takes f7, but the king can simply capture. If white takes now this bishop, you have rook on c5. So here you see the problem is that after the queen takes, well, you have a rook on c5 and attacking this knight with possibilities to play b4 if the rook of course comes into the protection. So if black if white doesn't react, well, then you have this idea to play knight on d3 with this double attack on the queen and the bishop on c5. So very strong game here by Wesley So. I think it's a very instructive game. After the simplification in the opening, he played on the simple attacks on the bishop pair, and I really liked this idea. He in every move he gained some more space, and I think it's something worth to see in this line. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Meanwhile, of course, you can watch my other King's Indian videos. So far I've created 41 videos in this King's Indian defense, but I think it's really important to have all these possible lines covered, because you see, if you don't know how to play against d takes c5, well, you get crushed very easily, of course. As I said, you can watch my previous videos of this King's Indian, and you can watch my hyper accelerated Dragon Sicilian defense videos if you have troubles to play against e4. And of course, guys, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks you for watching, and chess is the best, of course.